Good evening and welcome to the Business Day. I'm Andrew Laidley. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin today confirmed that the Jamaican economy contracted by 18.4% in the second quarter this year compared to the corresponding quarter last year. The confirmation comes against the backdrop of the PIOJ's preliminary data, which estimated an 18% contraction during the second quarter, with a warning that the official data could be worse. Now, Statin says the economic performance was largely due to the negative impact of the continued spread of COVID-19 and the measures adopted island-wide to limit its spread. Other factors that contributed to the decline were drought conditions, which largely affected agriculture, and the continued negative impact of the closure of G1 Iron and Steel Company Gisco Alpart on the mining and quarrying industry. Gas prices are going up tomorrow. A litre of 87 and 90 gasoline will increase by 10 cents. Automotive diesel will cost 6 cents more, while ultra-low sulfur diesel will go down by 67 cents. Kerosene will cost $3 less. Propane will decline by $1.50 and butane $2.03. Oil prices rose today after the U.S. government reported a third straight weekly decline in crude supplies. Oil for delivery in November went up 93 cents to settle at $40.22 a barrel. Some disappointing news for moviegoers this evening. Effective today, Palace Amusement closed its Palace Cineplex and Multiplex locations. The company says keeping the locations open is no longer economical for its business. Despite restrictions on the entertainment industry, movie operators have been fortunate to open their locations under strict COVID-19 protocols. But Palace Amusement announced today that it is being forced to close 2 of its 4 locations on the island. The company says Palace Cineplex at the Sovereign Centre in Kingston and Palace Multiplex in Montego Bay have been underperforming ever since the government lifted the restrictions in July. Palace Amusement says despite its best efforts to minimize overhead costs, there are various expenses that are unavoidable whether or not the cinemas are operating. To make matters worse, Palace Amusement says attendance at the cinemas continues to be severely impacted by the fluctuation in curfew hours and the spiking community spread of the coronavirus. The company revealed that Palace Cineplex was particularly badly hit, with attendance at 0 on some occasions. Over in Montego Bay, Palace Amusement says operations at Palace Multiplex were previously negatively impacted by the ZOSO and the states of emergencies in St. James, and the pandemic has made the situation worse. Palace Amusement says it tried to stave off the closures for as long as it could by negotiating with landlords, utilizing fewer screens to minimize electricity costs, and rotating staff. The company also implemented international standards to make the cinemas a safe space for patrons and employees while offering reduced rates. But Palace Amusement says those initiatives have not resulted in larger crowds at the cinemas. The company announced recently that it has acquired a space in New Kingston to operate a drive-in cinema, but it's still uncertain when operations at that drive-in location will start. Palace Amusement says that's because the current curfew hours are unfavorable to that kind of business. The management says it will continue to closely monitor conditions and advise when new developments arise. In currency trading, the US dollar held firm today to close at $142.10. The Canadian dollar sold for $107.75. The pound sterling is going for $185.55, while the euro is selling for $168.28. The JSE index gained 8,779 points today, while the junior market index is up 35 points. Among the winners were Productive Business Solutions 9.75%, Maybury Investments, Barita Investments, Access Financial Services, and Foshrich. Now on the losing side were Stationery and Office Supplies, G West Corporation, Everything Fresh, Jetcon Corporation, and Sterling Investments. And that's the Business Day. I'm Andrew Laidley. Good evening.